Welcome to Ketchum, Idaho. I'm Richard Weiss, and let me bring you up to speed quickly because we are literally racing the sun. I'm in the foothills of the Sawtooth Mountains. I'm at about 6,000 feet. We're about 4 minutes away from the total eclipse of the sun, and already the sky has changed dramatically. I'm looking out over the top of these mountains and I can see a deep blue, the type of deep blue that I usually associate with very high altitudes. I'm going to pull up to my telescope, which I have set up in a great vista spot. This is exciting. As an explorer, I have seen many things in my life, but I can tell you this is one thing that I have never seen. And although I'm standing here alone, I can definitely feel an electricity in the air. It is a very eerie feeling. All right, let me walk over to my scope. And before we start, I almost feel we have to pay homage to Sir Isaac Newton. And I'm going to paraphrase him right now. The reason that I'm able to see so far is I've stood on the shoulders of giants. I want everyone just for a moment to think what's happening here. Let's compare it to the great eclipse of 1918. Back then, you had very simple telescopes information. Right now, you're looking at me through a 4K camera. You'll see a 360 image very soon. We have a Corona cam, which is dedicated shot right to the sun. I arrived here in a technologically advanced hybrid vehicle. The telescope that's next to me, if you recall, there was a 1919 experiment with Sir Arthur Eddington in which he verified Einstein's theory of relativity. At that point in time, even though astronomers were good, this was in the realm of a very few. It was aristocratic science versus citizen science. Let me bring you up to speed with where we're going. I'm going to put my glasses on in a second, but already I see some dappling light along the grass and trees. The sky is turned into a steely blue behind me. The temperature has started to drop a little, and I'm seeing a pinkish band along the horizon. Now, let me give you the difference between what is a partial eclipse and a total eclipse. If you could imagine having a birthday cake with one candle on it, that's a partial eclipse. A total eclipse is like listening to the 1812 overture in these majestic mountains with fireworks going over. I'm going to put my glasses on. Right now, I'm looking at a little bit of a sliver of the sun. I'm about 2 minutes out. So what should begin to happen? We're already seeing the pinkish bands along the horizon. I'll have a 360-degree sunset. We may be able to see 4 planets. We have Jupiter, Mercury, which I've never seen with my naked eye, Mars, and then Venus a little further onto the horizon. The stars should come out. The winds may shift. I do hear a couple birds chirping in the area. I'm curious to see whether they start doing that as well. It is amazing. Now, the shadow that's racing across the Earth is traveling at 2,000 miles per hour. And the automatic lights on my car have sensed night, and they're on. I'm about 60 seconds out, and as I said, there are many things that I've seen in my life, but I have never seen a total eclipse. We could not have asked for a more perfect day here in the Sawtooth Mountains of Idaho. One of the features when we go into totality, just before it, we should see something called Bailey's beads. Those are actually the last remnants of light rushing through the valleys and craters of the moon. We may see some reddish sort of glow around that. That's the chronosphere. And then finally the corona. That is the atmosphere of the sun. It is amazing. I am now seeing sunset in the valley. The stars are stunning. I am at totality. Oh my gosh, I can see those sort of diamond encrusted or surrounding the moon. That is the Bailey's beads of it. Already I'm seeing the corona. Now I'm way up in the mountains and down in the valley. I can actually hear people screaming. I have goosebumps on me. I'm not sure whether it's because the temperature has dropped, but this is absolutely amazing. This is the 1812 overture. I see Venus very bright to the side. I'm not quite seeing Mercury yet, but what must the ancients have thought at this point? It must have seen that life has ended as we know it. I have about 5 seconds. I see Bailey's beads coming back. I have to put my glasses back on. And we're out of the eclipse. That was about 70 seconds. Give me a moment just to sort of distill this in my mind, because if I were to look in the dictionary right now under the term awesome or awe, I think it would say total eclipse. I'm watching the light return to Earth. And I know for many people have seen the total eclipse. It's a highly personal experience. I've never considered myself a religious person, but when I look up at the sky, I cannot help but feel that there is something much bigger than me out there. It's an amazing experience. Often as an explorer, I've heard, what is left to explore? You know, we're actually in a golden era of exploration, our ability to see further. It proves that science does work, even though the paradigms of science are constantly shifting. When I was a young boy, I was told that there were 9 planets. Life existed in this narrow band between above freezing and below boiling. We know those are no longer true. I can only imagine during the time of the ancients, you would have thought that life was over or ended as you know it. The more I think about this, sort of proves that the future belongs to those who are unafraid. This has been, perhaps, other than the birth of my children, the most awesome experience I've ever seen. I have looked into the eyes of mountain gorillas. I've been fortunate enough to see polar bears at the North Pole or be on the side of Everest. But this was beyond an otherworldly experience. As I mentioned, I think it will take me quite amount of time to sort of distill this feeling, encapsulate it all, and bring it into some sort of perspective. But my gosh, we are all part of something much bigger, a universe that is so much more powerful than we are. And I know that people who've seen eclipses become very evangelical about the experience. I could imagine that if I get an opportunity to see another eclipse, I will definitely do it.